don't think this is her choosing him. I think this is her having her cake and eating it too and settling on him after she was done doing what she needed to do. That's not choosing something. I don't feel selected there at all. How does, again, it's about how he feels about it. Because she didn't do, nothing happened to her. It happened to him. How she feels and what she was thinking was going on does not matter. It's how he feels about it. Because the action was done to another person. If you want to try a long distance relationship where it's like, while you're away, do what you want, it works for some people. My buddy is married. His wife travels for work. They do this. They claim it works. I have no evidence to suggest that it does not work for them. I'll tell you, every time we have dinner with them and we drive home, we're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Like, a lot of time. And they know that. I've told my buddy that. I've told his wife that. I've told him. This is not her choosing him. This was her choosing her. And then getting what she wanted in the end. Let me throw this in. This guy makes 4 times the amount of money the wife does. Did she choose him, or did she realize what he was going to school for versus what she was going to school for? He gets the job that's going to pay really well, so she married him for the money, right? Is that still her choosing him? Or was that her getting away with every last horrific thing she wanted to do and still getting the guy to marry her at the end? If she were choosing him over what had happened, they would have had the conversation about it before they got married. This is what's been going on. I'm still choosing you. I want to be with you. Let's make this work. That's choosing another person. Lying to somebody for 25 straight years isn't you choosing them at all. It's you choosing your own selfish ass.
We would have him drug tested, but why waste the money? The Stan Sperry Show on Rock 106.9.
9 a.m. this morning, an NFL prospect says he doesn't believe in space. Other planets, they're not there, man. They're lying to us. They're on to us, man. My truth. My truth. All right. And okay. There we go. And fun times with that. We had been talking about this poor SOB at a dinner party. Ends up finding out at that dinner party his wife cheated on 26 different guys while they were in college. Now, they went to separate schools. And they tried the long distance thing, which I know people who that's worked for. Most people I know were like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking? Now, some people just create, like, the deal. I love you, you love me, and sex is different for us than it is maybe for the normies. And so, like, we don't care about it all that much. It's just a physical thing. Like, there are plenty of people who say that, you're right? Like, and so this is what makes this conversation so interesting, is people will say, well, this person says, sex is just a physical thing.
Well,
like, right, they're saying.
Feel the weather now.
Mm-hmm. Do they actually think it?
I need
Denial's a thing.
The weather is good.
Like, you realize some of you, not all of you, all right? But we have to admit that this is true. Some of you have been listening to this conversation and think you disagree with me. But you're in denial. Not all of you. I understand there's going to be more than enough of you. There's enough people listening every morning that I know this. There is going to be enough of you that's like, I'm perfectly okay with it. Some of you think you are and in denial about it. That will be a rude awakening for you at some point down the road. Or maybe it will never come. Like, maybe it won't. What somebody said is, dude, you've talked about this a couple of times this morning. You're not going to talk about whether or not she had infidelity issues while they've been married? It's like, let's be honest about this. You got outed at the dinner party. You didn't tell your husband this was happening. Or, sorry, had happened. Let's try to be clear about this, as I'm going to bring a couple of different what-if scenarios into it. You didn't say, oh my God, I've been thinking about this. It's been weighing on me. I love you so much. I don't want to do this to you anymore. I need to be able to tell you the truth. No, you got outed by a friend. So as you go home and talk about it, you've been busted for this, so you got a cop to it. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, by the way, for the last 20 years, I've been sleeping with the neighbor. Now, I guess what you could say is this. Well, Stansbury, she's the kind of person who, when caught, and they have the conversation about it, she cops to all 26 dudes. Like, wouldn't she just go, yeah, it's like 4 or 5 people. Welcome to being in college, and you sleep around a little bit when you're in college, and everybody gets herpes the first year, and like, right? Like, she would have just done, if she were the kind of person, she told him about all 26 in a row. Justin wants to know. It's a funny reference. But that if she's willing to cop to it, that wouldn't she have copped to this? Well, I don't know, because I understand how that theory comes up. But what I would say is, isn't she worried, well, he'll forgive me for what I did before we were married. We weren't married, we're just kind of dating. And right, because people do this. Like, people have this mentality that's like, well, we're married now, so it's that much different. And I would agree, it is different. But commitment is commitment. Right? Like, if I'm telling people you don't have to get married to have real commitment in your lives, and I do agree with that. I don't think you need to. I think it's different, and I think if what you're looking for is, I think people should. That's just my opinion. Very judgmental on my opinion program. It'll be okay. You're not going to die, right? You're fine. And so I think people should. But like, I don't know. You know what's crazy? I just said that, and I'm not sure that's what I will do. So I think you can have real commitment without it. For sure. Absolutely. Right? As a matter of fact, some would tell you you have more commitment by staying together solely because you want to versus having this piece of paper that says you have to. Although I don't know if that makes any sense. You can get divorced easily these days. Nobody even snickers at you anymore. Back in the day, it was like... Now it's, all right. Strike up the band, go get another marriage. Just do another one. See what happens. Like, that's kind of where we're at now with that. That's kind of where we're at with it. These days, I think it's even getting tougher. I saw this the other day, and I was taken aback by it. But young people, and if you would have had YouTube and all this stuff when I was a kid, I would have been saying wild things. And people would have been like, look at how soulless this generation is. But you hear people talk about their bodies. I have this many bodies. And if you're hearing your kids say this on the phone and you don't know what that means, it's not murder, it's how many people they slept with. How many bodies do you have? And I've admitted already this morning a couple of times that shamefully I would have to sit down and like pull the pen out and be like, oh, dude, I forgot about Monica, dude. Like, dude, I kind of forgot about that one. Which there's no forgetting about Monica. That's why I had her name at the top of the list there. But like, you take the point. There are going to be people I'm like, oh man, I kind of forgot about that. Right? So I've done the running around. But I saw some videos the other day. They asked this woman how many bodies she had on a pod. And it was like 300 or something. And she went on to say, but there's probably another 100 of them. So like 400. She goes, but those don't count.
Yeah, don't fucking stop in front of them.
And I leaned in and I was like, why don't those count?
I don't know. I don't understand why
100 people and they don't
that.
count. What kind of
There's plenty
eraser
of room,
are you
but they're gonna
using, and
stop
where
right
do I
there.
buy it? Right? Like, this is, I couldn't wait to figure this out. Apparently, some of the new generation, I don't think it's the bulk of them. I don't. I think this is one of those things that kind of went viral, and people are like, Gen Z's nuts. And it's like, well, this person in Gen Z is
lipstick.
nuts. That
Yeah,
woman
I
seemed
know.
to be under the belief
I love you. See you
that if
later.
she
sweetie.
were
good
wearing
shift.
condoms while
Have a
sleeping
good
with those
shift.
100 guys, that they don't count on her body list because they didn't actually, in her mind, penetrate her. Yes, they did. And here's how you know. Right now, there is probably 100 men or more listening to me right now who were wearing a condom, broke, and ended up having a baby. Every last one of them bodies count, young lady. Every last one of them. Now, it's not necessarily a new argument. I remember back in the day, anal didn't count, right? It doesn't really count. It doesn't count. It's different. It's different. It's like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's the same thing. As a matter of fact, think about it as your wife cheating on you. What would you rather have?
I'm gonna go this way.
Vaginal or anal? Just got a little bit more mad in your truck, right? Why is that? I don't know, but it does. It's different. Much like, dude, if your wife cheats on you, like, we can go back to the Clerks thing, 26 in a row. Your wife cheats on you. You'd rather she have sex with the dude than go down on him, right? Of course. Because at least with having sex, you're like, well, you got something out of it at least. You're just out here disrespecting me and just doing this for them? The hell kind of person are you? You'd be more mad about that, right? When you really start thinking about how sex finishes and where stuff may go, right? You find out this happened or that happened. What are you more mad at? See what I'm saying? Like, it affects, things are different. Things are absolutely different. I don't care if you're wearing condoms or not. Every last person you let inside your body, those bodies definitely count.
He's a bad influence. But nobody is stupid enough to take him seriously. The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Give me an hour, and I'll get you into Primus. Show's got Coheed and Cambria on it, too. We'll do that at 8:45. The number you'll need then is 330-450-7625. Text that number throughout the program, and plenty of you have been.
Maybe.
As we've been talking about this guy who found out his wife had cheated on him while they were in college. They went to separate colleges. They were in a committed relationship, long distance.
We might.
And they were at a dinner party the other night. And the story goes, the wife's friend who went to college with her, it's like, oh, she's seen her in college. Wild, man.
We typically try to stay
And then they get
around,
home, and he ends up finding out she
stay
slept with
around
26
North
different men.
Like the farthest I went was
And on like 30 different occasions.
Walmart.
And so he wants to know what he should do. And actually, he's thinking, oh, if I go out and I have sex with a bunch of people, that will set the score straight. And I was like, well, I don't think it will. And if you missed that part of the conversation, you'll be able to pick up the pot a little later.
Yeah, we did that.
We've been
that's
discussing, right? And Brian brings up an interesting point. And I think a lot of people do feel this way, so I wanted to talk about it.
Closed down Sears parking lot.
Brian says, for me, I think it might be worse if it was one
that's
guy
what we used, and then,
over and over again.
And then Josh was like,
That's
well,
interesting because a lot of people do feel
a
this
couple
way.
times.
That if you're just promiscuous, it's
And then
just
after that, it was
about
like, okay,
sex
take
then
us
at
home.
that point. And for some people, sex is just that. Some people are in denial about the fact that that's what it is, but you know, there's 8 billion people out there, man. There's a lot of different viewpoints and different strokes, and you know, I try not to play a moralist with this since I've had more than one person in my bed at once. So you know what I mean? Let's just
this one is like it's
breathe steady.
The road is like right up on top of
I
the
understand both.
I have heard do that, and they've actually got maneuverability codes set
the
up.
The sheer number of it
on the in the parking lot.
God damn, man, where's the ticket counter at?
By,
you know what I mean? Like, I understand that, and then I could easily understand that
where it was
over
shut
and
down.
over again. So like, this was just
she practices.
That's you definitely not choosing me. That's you choosing somebody else at that point. That's an affair, right?
I just have her go around all the lanes and stuff in the lot, and then
those are different.
Out on the.
Which one would you have a problem with?
She usually drives home from work at night
whenever
I go pick her up.
Everybody cares what people think about them, and I think I would have a harder time with the amount of people.
I will say the very first time I drove, my grandpa took me out on Thanksgiving morning.
At least if I felt like you loved somebody else and you just didn't know how to tell me you didn't know how to leave, it's like, well, at least you love them, I guess.
Dan's
where it's like, dude, you're just letting everybody make an idiot out of me for nothing? For nothing.
And then there was that one.
You're making me look like the biggest idiot out here over nothing.
Split off
like that, I wouldn't be able to. I'm not.
And then there was one whiny.
I'm not doing
the same thing.
Right? Like I'm not doing that. Like that would be a hard thing for me to do. Very. A couple of more texts here. Guy says, my girlfriend believes sex is just physical and it doesn't really matter, but she's also in a polyamorous relationship with me being monogamous. And that can become very tricky in relationships. Yes, it can. I'd almost like to know, is it a requirement that you're monogamous and she's allowed to be polyamorous? Is that the thing? Or is that just how you guys, she needs it, you don't? And so that's how you go along with it. I'd be very curious to talk to you 5 years down the road. Are you okay with it now? But like I've been talking about with a lot of people, maybe in denial, and then you get out of that later down the road. I'm not saying you will be. That's very judgmental, but it happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people I know. Again, because you desire something, because you think you're okay with it, does not mean you are, and does not mean it's healthy for you, like not even close. Again, I will make sex like brownies. Like you want them, but you should not have them, and you know that. And so I think sex and some things that we think we're okay with sexually can absolutely come from that.
Isn't to win, it's just to play.
You know, this is an interesting viewpoint too. Michael says, Did he ever ask her while they were in college if she was seeing anybody else?
Surprising.
If not, she didn't lie. She just didn't tell him. Has she cheated on him since the wedding? Youth is youth, and everybody matures at a different rate. The important part is what she did once the engagement ring went on her finger. Well, again, that's, you and I have a different viewpoint. I think the transgressions are worse after you get married. I would agree with that. But it's not that I don't view them as transgressions just because we weren't married. That's where I'm going to draw the line. Now, what am I doing there? I'm talking about something that happened to a 23-year-old as I am, well, twice that age. Right? And I talk about this sometimes. We'll look back on things, or we'll look at things and be like, oh my God, how could you? And it's like, well, dude, you're almost 50. That's how you think that, right? Versus welcome to being a little bit young. Capricious youth. You're not wrong, okay? You're not wrong. However, if I'm in a committed relationship with you, we've already set that boundary. We're committed. This is a relationship. Everybody's under the understanding that this is what this is. If I have to ask you to reaffirm that throughout this relationship, I'm sorry, that's not a relationship. Being in the relationship is we know what we're doing here, right? Absolutely. That's what that is. That's what that is. I shouldn't have to ask you over and over and over again. Now, I know what a lot of guys are saying, because some of you are already saying it to me. Don't you have to kind of know a little bit in college that while you're separated and, you know, that this is probably what's happening? You know who people are. People can only be faithful for what their options will allow. And I don't know if we all want to side with that. And no, I don't think that's what he thought. I think he probably thought, well, we've been married almost 20 years. I think it was 18 years. It would have come up by now. Maybe she would have told me by now. You know, a lot of people were making it about the fact that she chose him after all of this, and I don't believe that's what happened. She got to choose her all throughout college, and then he didn't know, and so she married him. And I said, what if he makes like 10 times more money than she does? Do we think differently about it? Because she didn't choose him. She's staying with him for that bread, and she got to do whatever she wanted, right? Then all of a sudden, it's a very different conversation. Which, by the way, we all know this. What about, right? Like, here it comes. What about dude sleeps with 26 women in a committed relationship while they're apart? It's viewed different, isn't it? Dog, awful, pig, they're the worst. Wait for this word. Toxic, man! That's exactly how that would be seen. And I've said it's not toxic masculinity. It's toxic humanity. Everybody is capable of being toxic. Everybody is capable of treating somebody horrifically in an attempt to guard yourself or to do what you want. He says, I'm not okay with it. This is the man whose girlfriend is polyamorous. I'm not okay with it. It depends on the person. It's not forced, discussed, and chosen. It's a transition for me, but it's not like I have issues because I do know she's in love with me, if that makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, you would know that and I wouldn't, right? Like, we have a life together while it's just a physical relationship with some other people. Okay, like, this stuff works for some people. It's not what I would want, but you don't have to live the way I want. And I don't have to live the way you want. You know what I'm about to say now, don't you? Yeah, you do. Freedom's messy, man, because your neighbor has it too. Neighbor has it too. So this guy says, again, were they talking, dating, or engaged? They were dating. They were in a committed relationship and then decided they were going to separate schools and they were going to do the long distance thing. That is a committed relationship, albeit a foolish one, I will not deny. But whether or not that guy thought he was under the impression that they were in a committed relationship. Again, I know not everybody listens to every segment, so you may have missed this part of the conversation earlier, and this is me being bad at my job for not circling back here. He was going to see her every weekend, altering his college experience And maybe not about seeing other women or doing it, but he wasn't spending the weekend at the school he was going to, maybe going to games or doing this, maybe hanging out with friends, building other friendships or this and that. Nope. Friday's here. I want to put the gas in the car. Time to go see the woman who's cheating on me. I don't think he's getting in the car to go see her every weekend if they're talking. Which, by the way, can we just say this? Talking is dating. This conversation's been annoying since we were 14. I'm kind of talking to so-and-so. You're dating that person. Quit being an absolute pussy and stand up and say, I like you. This is what I want. Because when people say they're talking, that's what they're afraid to do. It's either you're afraid to say what it is you want and demand it out of that person standing over there, or you would like to have your cake and eat it too. No, we're just kind of talking because I want to bang Trisha over here. Those aren't the same thing, right? So most times when you tell people we're talking, that's a relationship. I don't care what people try to say. Everybody's just so afraid of labels now, man, because everybody's afraid of commitment. Because everybody's afraid to look foolish for the other person. You know why? Because things like this happen to people.
You thought Stansbury was a mess on air? Check out the show's Facebook page at Stansbury Show. Rock 1069.
Welcome back to the Stansbury Show. By the end of this hour, you'll win your way into Primus. Show's got Coheed and Camry on it too. That's a damn good night. Out of Blossom on August 5th, and I'll get those tickets passed out by the end of the hour. Annie has been listening this morning, and she's not quite ready to let this conversation go just yet. We had been talking about this guy. He was at a dinner party, found out his wife had cheated on him while they were in college, separate colleges they went to, committed relationship. He was leaving school every weekend to go see her. She had slept with 26 different men over 30 different occasions. My guess is it might have been more. Not everybody. I mean, if you were sleeping with that many people, you'd probably go, oh, I forgot about Bradley. Forgot about that dude, right? Yeah, I forgot about him. So, that could have happened. And Annie was like, at first I was a little conflicted here. I was wavering, Stansbury, if I'm honest, because, this is kid versus adult decisions here. And yeah, right? Notice this, and I'm not Annie about this, but we do this, right? If somebody makes a huge mistake at 24, we're like, they're a kid, right? Oh, I'm an adult, right? Like, where we decide when people are not adults is very interesting. Again, I know I know leadership of the country doesn't agree, but if you sign up to go to college, you were adult enough to know what it is you were supposed to be doing and that you were going to have to pay that money back, but screw that, apparently. I mean, oh my God. Let's not get sidetracked, though, because it makes me so furious, man. She goes, did they get married right after college or when she grew up a little? But now that I listen, the fact that he went to see her every weekend, she says, you're right. She stole his college experience. The chance of lifelong friendships that he may have built. So many other things. Not to mention the broken trust for years. Although they may have built a wonderful life and family together since then, it would be so hard to process. I feel like it would be like new cheating for her. The fact that you could keep it from me that long is almost more concerning, right? I mean, we throw terms like narcissist around very easily, and I don't even know if that would really fit the clinical definition of narcissism, but I'm willing to bet that kind of activity is going to be a contributing factor, right, to it, absolutely. Once you know you've slept with other people on that person, like when you start to realize, like somebody said, well, maybe she didn't know they were in that kind of relationship. It's like, well, you decided to stay together before you went to separate schools. So like, I think she did. And beyond that, once he shows up every weekend, you're not starting to feel a little bit bad then? Like, dude, last night I just slept with Billy. And now you're on my doorstep because it's Friday morning and you left school. Like, you're not, like, that doesn't make you, now again, I say that. But God, I didn't care about anything at 22 but me. And I mean nothing but me. No, I don't think that's most people, but it was me. That's not who I am today. We talk about this, right? People can change. You'll hear it all the time. People can't change. It's like, no. The right way to say it is most people will not change. Because again, denial. Most people think what they're doing is what they want to be doing. It ain't. Like, let me just tell you. Most people think that they like what they like, or they like this, not even just sex stuff. People think that they like stuff just because it's happenstance. No, it isn't. Most things in your life were molded from decisions made and things done to you that you may not remember. Doesn't have to be sexual abuse, doesn't have, right? But how your parents raised you, what they said to you, how they punished you, it all goes into it. I know people don't want to admit that because people think therapy turns you into a pussy. It doesn't. It doesn't. What therapy does is show you, no, you've been a pussy because you've been running from you, baby. You're out there telling everybody how tough you are against them, but you're afraid of you, which makes you the big old sissy. How's that feel, alpha? Right? Like that's what that is. You're running from you. And I think that's what a lot of what this woman was doing, running from her. Commitment is scary for people. Success is scary for people. You know somebody like that, right? I worked with a guy once who was terrified of it. If you talk to him, he would say, I want it more than anything. And he worked hard to get it, and he was successful. Couldn't handle it. Needed to overanalyze why he was successful. What was going to do? How are they going to take it away from me? Oh my God, if I don't do this, then I won't be. He could not handle that he was successful. So he threw roadblocks in his way every single day. And meanwhile, me and the other two people in the studio just catching strays every single day over. Couldn't handle the success. Could not handle the commitment to the other people in the room or the radio station. Now, having said that, that's what was wrong with him in that relationship. Point over, there was more than enough wrong with me in that relationship. That is not me blaming that person for what happened there. It's me telling you I have seen it with other people. Have I seen it in my life? A little afraid of success. Yeah. Just happen to throw those roadblocks up in your own way, right? Self-sabotage, a lot of times people call it. That's what she was doing in this relationship. Most of your decisions are based on other things that we don't think of. You ever think to yourself, why would I do that? Yes, of course, everybody does. There's a reason why you did it. It wasn't an accident. That's not how it works. That's literally not how it works. I love how people think that they know they're smart, right? And yet they don't think their brain can work in that manner. The brain is complicated, but I'm in complete control of it. No, you're not. You can become more in control of your brain. You ever think to yourself, why am I thinking about that right now? It's awful. Why am I thinking about that? Yeah, you didn't control it. You're along for the ride, baby. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. The difference is if you're still blaming your parents for what's going on in your adult life, that's like, nah, man, you've had time. Go get it worked out. Maybe it takes a therapist, maybe it doesn't. Not everybody needs one. More than enough of us do. I've noticed this. The people who tell me how they don't need it are the people who need it the most. So let me give you a little Harold Dean here for you real quick. Daniel, the most deceived are the self-deceived.
Like a wake and bake with an easy bake oven. The Stansberry Show on Rock 1069.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. 9 a.m. this morning, an NFL prospect does not believe space is real. Other planets do not exist. My truth. I'm allowed to have my truth. I'm allowed to have your idiotic opinion. I don't know about your truth. But we'll get to it. 9 a.m. All right. So it was, God, a few years ago now. I stumbled across a little girl, Malia Emma, her name, singing the national anthem. And she absolutely crushed it. So much so that we play it a lot on the show. People love that. I have played that and have men tell me, dude, I pulled over and I cried in my truck when I heard it. Like, now the anthem means different things to different people. I'm not necessarily that guy, although performances can get me to like, what? Huh? Like, that can happen, you know. But people love that. And we've had some debates in this country about the national anthem. And I've defended us using a national anthem by saying the country will never be finished. The country is a work in progress. The country's an idea. And it's up to you and I to make it the best idea it can be. We don't always do the best job of it. I know I do. So people are like, it doesn't represent this or it doesn't. It's like, yes, it does. I believe it does. And I'm perfectly okay with a country having national anthems. Now, people will tell you that America seems to have a little bit more what they would call forced patriotism than some other places. That we have a weird relationship with the patriotism in this country. A lot of foreigners will come here and tell you that. I know a lot of people from the UK notice that about us. There's flags everywhere, and they seem to be about the country, and they seem... Well, yeah, I mean, when you've lived in a place that everybody has scratched and clawed to get to your entire life, you are going to feel a sense of pride about being from and living in that place. No matter where you are, dude, you want to get here. That's just kind of the way it is. That may change over the next decade, 15, 20 years, because of some things that are going on. I think it is going to change, as a matter of fact, and pretty drastically. But our entire life, everybody from everywhere has done anything they can to get inside this country. And by anything they can, I mean just walk over the border now. I saw that this morning at CNN. President Biden and former President Trump both agree that there's a problem at the border. They just have wildly different ideas on how to fix it. CNN. Yeah, one of them told me it was a problem 3 years ago while the other one was lying about it. That's the difference in their approach, right there. One was telling you the truth, the other one decided to lie. Now, I know that sounds like I have co-signed a candidate, but I have not. It's just like, come on, man. Like, there's certain things, it's like, all right, dude, homie won this one. He did. Like, homie won that one. All right, 1-0 him on that. That's all I'm meaning to say. I bring all of it because another 8-year-old little girl sang the national anthem. I believe this was at an Indiana Pacers game. I'm stretching right now because I put it on my sound wall this morning and it isn't here right now. And this makes me so mad when this happens. Let me see if I can find this here. I told you yesterday, nothing in my studio was working even remotely. And what you're seeing now is a byproduct of that. This is embarrassing. It's like having erectile dysfunction in front of the entire county. But here we go. I have since found it. Don't worry, iHeart, you have a professional in here. So Kinsley Murray is 8 years old, and she was singing the national anthem before the Indiana Pacers game the other evening. She had a sequenced American flag dress on, an American flag bow in her hair, and dangling American flag earrings. You know, pushing back on the narrative that Americans are a little just wrapped in the flag there, right? This young girl is being dragged up and down the internet over her performance, which does feel a little unfair. She is just 8 years old. I'll have a few more points on that. Let's let you take a listen to this.
Stripes and bright stars roll over perilous fight for the rampart we watch. We're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regulate.
Not the best. I'm going to pause this here, and I understand it's the national anthem, and that gets us into a weird territory there, but you can hear her trying to pull the power in the voice, and this is where I've given credit to Malia Emma, the young woman who we played you in the past, because she tries to pull that power and does it. I don't believe Kinsley was able to get that done there. Ugh, I don't love that. Not great. Oof. Not great.
For the land of the free.
Oh no, Kinsley.
And the home you'll never end.
Now, this is what is unfortunate about the game. 1989, we see that before a sporting event. We're at the bar looking at one another like, little girl don't have it, man. She ain't got it. But now everybody rushes online to like, I mean, dude, they are roasting her. She's 8 years old. You know, it's just a weird thing that's happening now. Like, people feel as if they can say whatever they want. And I saw this. Well, she had the balls to go out there and do it. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, come on. She has done this before plenty of sporting events. I watched about, I think, 6 or 7 different versions of her singing the national anthem last night. None of them were great. Like, none of them were great. You know what most people said in the comments? They weren't even really, some people were on her, but most people, you know what they said? She's got rich parents, and you can tell. I don't know if that's true, but you can understand how they come to that math, right? It's like, why, out of all the people that could sing the national anthem, not only did you go with a child, be fine, plenty of children can have them singing voices. I mean, Michael Jackson at 5, baby, could blow the walls down. So, like, come on, right? It's not about the age thing, but out of all the people out there, including the children that could have done this, why does this little girl keep getting this opportunity, even though she keeps, again, I feel so bad talking about an 8-year-old like this, but she keeps crapping in her pants over it, you know what I mean? And it's not that great. It's not that great. So at some point, like, a lot of people are saying, white privilege on display here. And it's like, I don't know if that's what it is, but it does feel like money privilege. It does feel like money privilege. That was not the best version of that. And you got to wonder, how did the NBA let that happen? Dude, you're suffering ratings issues already. And then you're going to do that? Like, come on. I don't want to jump up and down on a kid all day because it just doesn't feel appropriate. I know I'm on the rock station and I'm not supposed to have feelings and kick the little turd in her butt. Right? Like, I know, Alpha. I know I'm not supposed to have any feelings whatsoever. Swing that kettlebell. Chew the fat off that cow while I'm still walking. I'm an alpha. I know, dude. Relax. Breathe, buddy. Breathe. You're going to be fine. The guy at the Godsmack station has feelings. I don't know how to handle it. I got feelings about it, but his feelings are the problem. Relax, buddy. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Breathe in. Breathe out. You will make it. Let me play you now. A young woman. Absolutely killing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see? Early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets raise the land, the bomb is bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
See ya. See you next time. Yeah. Have a good week.